The 2020 Triumph Street Triple RS. We have the review. The big update on the Hyundai Elantra. All those details as well in that review. And the BMW Z4. Hello, this is the Car and Bike Show. I am Siddharth Vinayak Patankar. Thank you for joining us. We're going to launch straight into today's episode with the latest from Triumph. Now, the Street Triple RS has always been a bike that has been fun and, kind of brings a smile to your face. Now, imagine taking that bike and almost turning everything that it does into something better. Well, that's the first impression we had as we approached this review. And then Preetam was obviously very excited to spend more time with it in Spain, especially at the Cartagena circuit.
The Cartagena circuit in Spain. It's a tight, technical racetrack with flowing right-handers and a series of tight left and right-handed corners. And we have the perfect bike for the job, the 2020 Triumph Street Triple RS. It now makes more power and more torque in the mid-range, although power output has not changed. And these have been achieved with Triumph's learning from the Moto 2 engine, the same 765cc triple-cylinder engine on which the Street Triple RS is based on.
In 2020, Triumph has included a lot of updates. Visually, more or less the silhouette remains the same, the dimensions are the same, suspension same, swing arm same, but the differences are inside the engine. Of course, Triumph has to meet the Euro 5 regulations, but more importantly, Triumph is the single engine supplier for the Moto 2 class, and that 765cc triple, learnings from that have been incorporated on this. This one makes more peak power, more peak torque than the outgoing Street Triple RS. The mid-range has improved, the gearbox has been tweaked a bit, the first and second gears are shorter, and we're riding this here today in Cartagena, Spain.
The changes are inside the engine with a new exhaust cam, lighter crank and clutch tweaked by the same engineering team working on the Moto 2 engine. The rotational inertia has also been lowered by 7%. The result is a 9% higher mid-range torque and power and a new freer flowing silencer with a crisper soundtrack. Although peak performance remains the same, it's the mid-range which has become more responsive and it shows in its performance. The up and down standard quick shifter offers seamless gear shifts, and the new Pirelli Supercorsa SP V3 tires offer both road and track use with superb grip. More importantly, the new model retains the same playful character but feels even more responsive, particularly between 6000 and 8000 RPM, where it will be mostly used.
So the peak torque peaks at around 8000 RPM. In everyday terms, if you're in 6th gear, 8000 RPM, you'll probably hit around 160 kilometers an hour. Not legal by any standards, but that's the kind of power it makes. And you can also potter around at per hour in 6th gear very easily at 3000 RPM. So there's no knocking, you don't change gears too much, and it's lightweight, nimble, easy to handle.
There's not been any radical changes in the aesthetics. It's got the same unmistakable Street Triple design, but there are some changes in the details. The headlights are more angular and sharper than before, with distinctive twin LED headlights with strips of daytime running lights. There are new colors and enhanced finish and detailing on the bodywork, as well as updated graphics on the full color instrument panel. Braking is handled by top-spec Brembo M50 calipers which offer sure shot stopping power. And there's fully adjustable suspension all round, with a Showa big piston fork up front and fully adjustable Öhlins monoshock at the rear. High-end kit and performance is one thing, but it's also the compact size and lightweight which makes the Street Triple RS such a lovely bike.
Now if you're looking for a lightweight sport bike, most superbikes these days are 200 kilos and above. And this one makes 121 bhp of power, packed into a compact size. And it's got a dry weight of 166 kilograms only. Curb weight, fully fuel up, it's about 187. That's the lightest in its class. And compare that 21 bhp power and 79 Newton meters of torque, you've got a proper pocket rocket. In comparison, look at it this way. The Bajaj Dominar is about 184 kilos curb weight. This one is 187 kilos curb weight, and it makes 121 bhp of power.
The new Street Triple RS will be launched in early 2020, and prices are expected to be in the ballpark of the outgoing model, possibly a few thousand rupees more expensive at the most. If you own an existing Street Triple RS, the updates may not seem like much. The RS has always been a great bike, but the 2020 Street Triple RS is just a matter of a great bike becoming even better. And if it's a naked middleweight you're looking for, its sheer versatility and usability makes it a very attractive proposition.
Preetam, having some fun there in Spain. Now we move on and talk about the new Hyundai Elantra. Now I say new because it is the mid-cycle facelift and it's a pretty major update. Now the car had always impressed us because, you know, it was a big break from Hyundai's previous sedans in terms of just better drivability, more sporty, nice ride quality and a great steering too. So it builds on all of that, and the update is pretty comprehensive, as Kingshuk found out.
The current generation Elantra has been around since 2016, and with the coming of the new generation Civic and the Skoda Octavia facelift, the Elantra was kind of becoming a little long in the tooth. But now the Elantra facelift comes as a much needed shot in the arm for Hyundai in the segment and gives it more bite to take on its rivals.
The biggest update to the 2019 Elantra facelift is to the front end, of course. The car now gets the signature cascading grille from the company, which gives it oodles of street presence. Adding to that is this newly designed headlamp cluster, which gets quad LED projector lamps. And adding to that as well are these new fog lamp housing, which are triangular shaped and which look really cool. The rear end, it also gets significant updates. The boot lid is new, the rear bumper has been reworked, it gets black inserts, and the LED combination tail lamps, they are new as well. Overall, this car, it looks a lot more fresher and lot more aggressive than the previous model.
The cabin also gets significant updates, with the car now getting a nice dual-tone black and beige color scheme. The 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system is new as well, along with the instrument console behind the steering wheel.
The new Elantra becomes the second car after the Venue to get Hyundai's Blue Link connectivity technology. There are a total of 34 connectivity features on offer, such as geofencing, car status, SOS notification, destination sharing, panic notification, and so on and so forth. Also, the car does get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Safety features on the Elantra facelift include the standard 6 airbags, ISOFIX child seat mounts, hill assist and vehicle stability control, and reverse parking sensors as well.
Hyundai is offering only a 2-litre petrol engine with the new Elantra facelift, and it has taken off the 1.6-litre diesel off the shelf. Now, whether that's a good move or bad, we don't know yet. But as far as driving dynamics are concerned, this car, it has been significantly improved. The steering feedback, for example, Hyundai is notorious to have very dead, steerings, but this one, it has decent weight, decent feedback, although it could have had a little more life in it. Apart from that, the engine, the 2-liter petrol engine, it's quite smooth and there's enough performance to boot whether you're driving in the city or on the highway. And this is the 6-speed automatic version that we're driving. And there are 4 driving modes on offer, which are normal, eco, sport and smart. The smart driving option, the smart driving mode rather, it teeters, it balances between eco and sport. So if you're driving in the city, the smart driving mode is the best option that you can choose. As far as ride quality is concerned, the suspension is slightly stiff, just a tad stiffer than we would have liked. Apart from that, the car does really well when it comes to handling.
Prices for the Elantra Facelift start at 15,89,000 rupees for the S variant and go up to 20,39,000 rupees for the top of the line SX automatic optional variant, with a total of 4 variants on sale. The new Elantra definitely looks much better, and with the new petrol engine, the performance is quite likeable. The list of features is quite high too, but somehow it still doesn't tug at your heartstrings like the Octavia or even the Civic do.
Slipping into a quick commercial break here, but we come back with the BMW Z4 review, as some people like to call it. The Z4 is on the other side of this break. Welcome back. The BMW Z4. You straight away get a certain image in your mind of exhilaration, fun, and a very sexy, low-slung car. Well, the new generation does all of that. Ameya has been the lucky one this week who got a chance to review this car.
BMW has big plans for India in 2019. And while half the year has already passed, the company already has had its fair share of launches. And it included this one.
And even in the flesh, the Z4, the new generation of the Z4, looks pretty good, doesn't it? Those proportions, new platform altogether, cluster architecture platform, CLAR, the same one that we've seen on the Toyota Supra. They both share the same platform, but it looks much better. It has a little bit of bulk too up front, thanks to the creases on the bonnet. There's a bit of aggression too there. And if you look at the kidney grille, it's not big and in your face like the ones that the new BMWs have. And there are no vertical slats either. So it's just a diamond pattern. Now that might be a little difficult for a company which has been making those kinds of grills for other cars to do, but the diamond pattern definitely works better on the Z4. And overall, it's just beautiful to look at, and that red really brings out a different aspect of the car. Of course, I'm now not going to talk much about this, but straight get in and take it out for a spin.
The sculpted bumpers and the wide rear all add to that aggressive appeal. And adding to the fast car look are elements like the line from the fender and functional vent leading to the tip of the spoiler, and the slash at the bottom of the door. Oh yes, it all works in its favor.
So the Z4 is available in the 20i and the M40i. What we are driving is the M40i version, which is the most powerful version in the country. So this one gets a 3-litre 6-cylinder engine, 340 brake horsepower and offer 500 Newton meters of torque. Now that power is available right from 1600 RPM, stays flat till 5000 RPM, and yes, it can even go up to the red light at 7000 RPM. Sadly, because of the traffic, we couldn't get to check that out, but definitely it can do it. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, 4.5 seconds. And it does feel a bit twitchy, you know, when you're driving in the normal or comfort mode basically. And the steering is lighter in the Sport Plus mode. It's lighter at lower RPMs, so at lower speeds rather. It's very light, but as you drive on and as you build up speed, that weight starts bearing on you, and then it feels really good. But it still is twitchy, but fun to drive, and the noise from the exhaust is absolutely breathtaking, because every time you put your foot down and go, it's always raring to go, and yes, always manages to put a smile on your face.
Of course, the only way to drive the Z4 around town is putting the top down. And that is done in just 10 seconds, even if you're doing speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour. And there's enough attention you draw from the crowd. The interesting part here though is that the roof, once folded, does not eat up into your 281 liters boot space, and there's a separate recess for it. But if you want to fully utilize the boot space, then you have to remove the space saver. So the choice is between bags and a spare wheel. The 10.25-inch infotainment system dominates the dashboard and gives you all the information you need about the car. There's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but if you download the BMW app, then there's a lot that you can access. There's also head-up display, twin-zone climate control, auto parking, but most of these features are optional extra. The bucket seats are extremely comfortable, and you can enjoy the drive simply by putting the top down. The Z4 M40i costs 78,90,000 rupees, and that makes it cheaper than its rivals, the Jaguar F-Type and even the Porsche 718 Boxster. So it's something you can cruise in, and so the cheaper option is the 20i, which has a smaller engine and a price tag that's 15 lakh rupees less than the M40i. All of it without compromising on the level of attention that you get.
And with that, it is pretty much a wrap on today's program. I hope you enjoyed what we brought you. As always, your feedback is welcome. And as always, I have to ask you to promise you'll wear your seatbelts or your helmets. I'll see you next week.